What's going on, guys? My name's Sam. I'm from Pioneer DJ, and first of all, welcome to Semcom. So within the next hour or so, I'm going to be delivering a Rekordbox tutorial. Now we're going to be going through beginner, intermediate, expert, some tips and tricks, and I'm going to be listing some of my favorite features of the new Rekordbox 6. So whether you are a Rekordbox user, whether you're looking to switch over to Rekordbox, or whether you're after some sort of new tips and tricks, as I said, yeah, stay locked in. Within the next hour, we're going to be showing you as much as we possibly can. So let's get to it. So the first thing I want to show you is more of a beginner thing. Now, this is if you haven't got Rekordbox or aren't signed up to a certain plan. So the first thing you want to be doing is go to rekordbox.com and very basic, click download. It's as simple as that. Now, please be mindful about the system requirements. This is definitely something that I get questions all the time about. Definitely read the system requirements. I'd say 99% of the time you guys will never really have a problem, but if you are running an old operating system, very old, with the new Rekordbox 6 features, you may have problems. So please read the system requirements. So once you've downloaded that, it's going to take you through to Rekordbox. Now, Rekordbox 6 is completely free, export mode and performance mode. And I'm going to dive into what both of those do in the next couple of minutes, but I just want to jump to this plan feature here. So this was introduced when we opened up Rekordbox 6. Now, when we go to Rekordbox plan, over here, you can see exactly what you're getting for free. So you get the export mode and the performance mode via a controller or a product that unlocks the performance mode. On the core plan, we've now introduced you can pay this within a year or play this within a month. You get export mode, performance features and DVS control, and then you have the creative plan, which you can get everything. Now I'm going to be showing you everything on here within the next hour, and I must admit I went straight to creative plan. I did do the 30-day free trial first, but I went straight creative plan simply because I'm now ready for pretty much anything that I want to do in the near future. So I am quite a multi-genre DJ. I do use DVS control, I do use video features, I do use the vocal position detection, which is something that I'm going to be showing you. And I most definitely use edit mode now, which is another thing that I'm going to be going into with you. So, creative for me was just the best option because, everything's there at your fingertips. So, I'm going to come back to this page soon, but let's now dive into my Rekordbox. Now, for those of you who have been on Rekordbox before or are looking to maybe upgrade to Rekordbox 6, or whether you are already on Rekordbox 6, there's a few things I want to go through before we dive into the nitty gritty and the tips and tricks. And the first one is a question I get asked a lot. Can I transfer my Rekordbox 5 library over to my Rekordbox 6? Yes, you can. Of course you can. And the fastest way of doing this is selecting file and then import your library from version 5 or earlier. Now, depending on how many tracks you have, this could take some time. Of course, we try and be as quick as we possibly can, but if you're transferring 20,000 songs, that may take a little bit of time. And it will transfer everything over, including the data, so your metadata is in your hot cues, your information on the track. However, I decided not to do this, simply because how many of you out there have Rekordbox 6 and it's a little bit messy? Let's be honest, we've been, obviously not for the last 18 months, but, a lot of you may have been working DJs for quite some time. I know I've been using Rekordbox since version 1, I think. Yeah, version 1 when it was just a music management service. My library from 1 to 5 was just constantly getting updated and it just became too busy. There were tracks that I'd never play again, and before you know it, you had 20,000 songs and, you're probably only playing 3,000 of them, but you don't have the time to go through it. So Rekordbox 6 is a brand new library system, hence why you can transfer from version 5, but because of the new features, it's essentially completely new software program in itself. Whereas 2, 3, 4 were constant upgrades from the previous software, this one is sort of a brand new software, if you will. So with that, you could start a brand new library, and that's exactly what I did. So my library, please do not read some of the tracks on here. There's been some interesting evenings I've had on Rekordbox thinking it was a good idea to download some of this music, and you sort of wake up the next day and go, yeah, I'll probably never play that again. But yeah, I have, my library's starting to come together now. I wouldn't say it's as big as my Rekordbox 5 library. My playlists are starting to come in together as well. I've got some pretty good playlists. I'm going to be working on this playlist today. But what it allowed me to do was just start again. Now, I still have Rekordbox 5 library saved. So the best way to do this is if you select File, Library, and then if you select Backup Library, this is in Rekordbox 5, it will back up your whole Rekordbox 5 library. And I just saved that to a hard drive, an external hard drive. And if there's any playlists or any songs that I want to pull from that, I can do and put it into Rekordbox 6. I found this to be a lot better because my library now, I'm quite happy with it. It's starting to come together a lot more. My playlists are a lot easier to navigate through, and it's just a lot more organised. Instead of transferring everything over that I've been doing for 10 years. Of course, it's still saved, but yeah, it's just a lot more organised. So that was just a quick tip for you, for those of you who want to transfer over to Rekordbox 6 from 5. Now, the question is, for those beginners out there that have never used Rekordbox before, what essentially is going on in front of the screen? What are we looking at here? So up here is your playhead. It's pretty simple. This is your playhead. This is going to show your track, and it's going to allow you to do your work on your track. Down here is showing what I've selected in my branch window here. So I'm currently on playlist mode. If I get rid of that, I can then open up my collection, which is showing all my collection from all my different playlists. But I do like to work within playlist mode. I put tracks into my collection and then transfer them straight to playlist, because it's this playlist bar here, this gets transferred to USB stick, and it allows you to use the features from Rekordbox on the CDJs. That is how Rekordbox export mode works. It's a music management service. So export mode can be found up here on the top left hand corner. You've also got performance mode, which we're going to be going into. Lighting is a lighting interface. I'll briefly touch up on it later, but it isn't something that I'm going to be heavily diving into within this talk. Edit mode is something that I'm going to be showing you as well. So we're currently just using the music management service, and then it allows you to organize your playlists, add information to the track, making it a lot easier for you to DJ. It makes your DJing experience a lot less stressful. All the work that you do here behind the scenes, this is what the DJs are now doing. All the work behind the scenes here, transferred to USB, and then if you're using our players, it can you can bring back all the information that you've attached to these tracks. So how do you get your music into Rekordbox? Now there's a few ways of doing this, but I'm going to show you my favorite one. But before I do, let's go to the most basic one. So I'm going to select File, Import, and I can import a track, folder, or a playlist. If I select Playlist, this is going to open up my desktop, or should I say my Mac HD hard drive, which is built into my Mac. And from here I can select let's say for example music, previous libraries. This is where my Rekordbox 5 is stored. Or if I select Pioneer DJ and I wanted to select this and open, what that would do is all the tracks in there would then go straight into your collection, and it would go through a period of what's known as analysing the track, which I'll go into a little bit further on. Now if you're on Rekordbox 5, you'll know that there was some issues with that. There was some teething issues that we've now finally sort of ironed out. And one of the main issues was when you do it this way, by import folder or playlist, and you take it from your desktop, what happens, let me just exit out of here, what happens is if you move that file somewhere else, so say for example I loaded this file into Rekordbox, that file will always have to stay on your desktop because it's a directory. So Rekordbox will be seeing that file. It's borrowing the music from that file in order to attach metadata to it, your hot cues, your beat grids, etc. So if I, in here, then moved that file to, say, Master Music 2, and I'm sure you've all done this before, all of a sudden you would see little exclamation marks pop up here. And what that means is it's not allowing you to see the original destination of the file. So within Rekordbox 5 there was a way of doing this. You select File, Display All Missing Files, and your file Display Missing Files head will play here. Sorry, show here. And it will show what's missing, which is currently this folder. Now, you could do something pretty cool, and that was display all missing files, and then you select relocate. So you could relocate the file and find where it had gone. So if I was to select desktop, and this is where I moved the file to, click open, it would automatically relocate the file, and your exclamation marks would disappear, and the file was able to play again. So that was Rekordbox 5's way of doing things. Now that's all well and good, but what happens if there's multiple tracks from different areas of your laptop? That's quite a long way of going around things. You have to relocate them individually. It's quite, you know, it was very time consuming. What we've added now, and this is one of the new features of Rekordbox 6, is an auto relocate. So I mean, I'm not going to relocate this because I know this file has been deleted from my laptop completely, but this was just an example. If I select auto relocate, it will automatically relocate the files from your laptop depending on where they are. So if I select my preferences here, go to advanced, and then where it says auto relocate search folders, if I select desktop and music, that will search everything on my laptop. And you know, I mean, you can literally find around 3,000 tracks in 6 seconds. It's super quick. And yeah, it was, you know, it was, everybody was asking us to add this to Rekordbox 6, and here it is. The reason why I've unticked movies, because I don't need it to search MP4 files, because, you know, WAV, AIFF or MP3, that's essentially what I'm using on my Rekordbox, so it's pointless searching any movie files. I've also told it not to specify any folders. This here, if I was to add a folder, this would be if you had an external hard drive, which would show up here if you have it plugged in. I can select that and tell it to just search that hard drive. But for now, because I keep all my music on my desktop, I leave it here, desktop and music. So that's one way of importing your tracks. And then if you have any missing files, display all missing files and go through the auto relocate, and it will find them for you. So the question is, how do you do this without having any missing files and not having to go through auto relocate? So this was probably, I mean, definitely the most used. I've never done it a different way. I save everything into iTunes. Now a lot of these tracks in my iTunes library are streamed, of course, you know. I don't have £20,000 spent on music, so a lot of it is streamed, some of it are downloaded. It totally depends. But this here in my iTunes library is now connected to my Rekordbox. And for those of you who aren't seeing your iTunes in your left hand collection tree, go to preferences, go to view, and then layout, and then you can select the iTunes. I'm going to turn inflow on as well. You can select the iTunes library there. What this does, it loads your iTunes library. And this is one of the best ways of doing it, guys. Now, if you're seeing this here, this little red marker, it means it's a track that's streamed or you haven't downloaded it to your local device. So iTunes works, as I'm sure you all know, iTunes will work. So for example, you saved a lot of your tracks in the cloud, and it allows you to just play it and stream it from the cloud. That's all well and good, but you can't do that within Rekordbox. You have to physically download the track to your laptop. So this, for example, here, that's now downloaded, and I will be able to search Groove Armada within Rekordbox so long as I've purchased it and find it. If I wanted this MJ Cole track and I know I've bought it, not streamed it, I just have to download it. And then once it's on my local device, which is your iTunes library, come to here, reload the library, and you'll be able to find MJ Cole and that certain track. This is how I do it basically. And then once I have the music, or once I find the music that I want, or the tracks that I want, I simply just select the track, I transfer it over to my collection. Obviously it's not going to let me because it's already on my collection on Rekordbox. And that's basically how I do it. And it's perfect simply because I never delete music out of my iTunes library. And if I do, it means I physically do not want that track. So it's, for me, it's the best way of doing it because I've never lost any music. I can also select through playlists if I wish to. So I can transfer through a playlist or just do individual tracks within my all audio file. So what happens when the tracks go to Rekordbox? It goes through something, as I've previously said, called analyzing. So I'm going to select my preferences, go to analysis, and this is what you want to select. So if you've signed up to the creative cover, you will be seeing vocal detection here. If you haven't, you won't see vocal. You'll just see phrase key and BPM and grid. This is key information in order to amend the track or do things with the track. And what you'll see is you'll see a little sort of waveform pop up once it's being analysed. Now if you're struggling with analysing, or a certain track won't be analysed, right click and simply just select analyze track. Or if you want to reanalyze it, pretty straightforward. So I have this playlist here. Ignore the cloud for now, I'll go into that a little bit later on. And I want to do some work just specifically on this track. So the first thing I do is get the beat grid correct. Because for those of you who don't know, the beat grid will be quantized. So I can quantize it, can quantize it here, which allows me to then snap to a grid, do my sync feature within the decks. And all I'm going to do is set the first bar to the current position. That's it. And then cue it. Good. And it's as simple as that. But I want to zoom in and double check I've got that bang on, which I pretty much have. Good, let's zoom out. Now I'm not going to go too far into the editing mode of the beat grids here, simply because it takes up quite some time and there's quite a bit to get through. However, there are some really interesting videos online. I've done a few on YouTube which explains advanced beat gridding, and it allows you to be able to manipulate the track even further. What I am going to do is I'm going to jump to my cue and my looped cues. So for those of you who don't use hot cues, start doing basically. What you want to be doing is making your mixes as interesting as possible. So if you're not currently using them, start getting used to using hot cues. I've been a DJ now for nearly 16 years, and I've been heavily mixing with hot cues for quite some time now. I don't really mix the old school way, which is mix in, mix out. I tend to just sort of remix on the fly. I'll pull parts of a track. I use 4 decks and a V10 mixer and a sampler as well, so my setup's quite hefty, it's quite big. So I like to do a lot of live performance in whilst I'm DJing. And how I do that is making sure my beat grids are always correct, making sure I've got plenty of hot cues and loops, and sometimes I'll jump into sync mode. And for those of you who are thinking, oh, you know, he uses sync, he can't beat match. Of course I can beat match, I learnt that a long time ago on vinyl players. But sync allows me to take my DJing further than I would be able to if I was just beat matching. So the first thing I do, because I do some quite extensive remixing on the fly, is I select my first bar to be 8-bar loop. So that's an auto loop there, and when I press play, it's just going to loop over and over and over. Now what I do is I just select my A there, and this is just this will jump me straight into a loop, and you can actually see the little loop feature there. And that'll just loop round and round. Now you'll notice on here I've done it on a few times, so I've got the B there, A, etc, etc. What I then do is I pick out certain parts of the track that I find quite interesting, Parts of the track that I could keep hold of, sustain it a little bit, add a little bit of drama, and then release. So this is always a good one for me. The 4 beats before the breakdown. And what you can do on the decks is you can start cutting that down. And it's just creating a bit more drama. It's making it a little more interesting. So that's my second cue, and I'm just going to right click here and change the colour to that, so I'm not getting confused. The next thing I want to be doing is if I go to a certain part of the track that I can find a little bit more interesting. Okay, so we've got a bit of a breakdown here. There it is. And I'm just going to create a dead hot cue here. So instead of a loop, it's just going to go straight to a hot cue, and it'll just continue the track without looping. Just realised I've got it at the wrong position there. That's where we need it. Good. Now let's scroll along a little bit further and find some more interesting parts. Quite like this part here, but I'm going to make this 2 beats. Because at this point, I'd probably mix out, personally. Don't always have to play the rest of the track. We've had quite an energetic beginning. We've gone, 3 minutes into the track, halfway through the track. I'm happy to then mix out and mix back into another one. So I'm just going to capture this here. And at this point, I'd probably add 2 more decks with different hot cues, which will blend nicely with that. If I don't want to, I can just exit out or jump to another hot cue. So, for example, if I activate this and it's not working, I jump to another hot cue and keep the track going. That's a really nice loop. I love that. I can keep hold of that as well, and you can bring something else into this quite easily. It's just a really nice breakdown. And let's just, I've just noticed a bit of a gap here. Great. Now I quite like that. I'll keep hold of this. And if I go up to here, I can bring player 2 in and see if there's anything that would work closely with that. So, what have we got here? Let's try this here. Not sure if this will work, but we'll soon find out. Probably not. Not too fond of that one. Let's try... What else have we got? We got here. Quite like this. Let's loop that. So probably not the best of mixing, as you can imagine. I'm just on my keypad here, but you get the idea. It allows you to preview the tracks before playing it and get your hot cues and everything ready. So I'm quite happy with that. We'll leave that as it is. I've got some pretty good hot cues. Good. Now, question is, what do we do after this? So there's a few ways we can take this now. Number one, we can add the My Tag feature. So this is a really good way of organizing your music. So the My Tag feature, it works sort of if like it's a hashtag on Instagram, for example. So when you search a certain hashtag on Instagram, it'll pull up everything tagged with that hashtag. So if I type in hashtag DJ, you'll see a load of DJs pop up, or etc, etc. So it's the same sort of scenario here. So if I go to genre, and it's basically just giving me what's happening with the track. So I've selected, it's got quite a rolling bass. A trigger track for me, by the way, for those who are wondering, a trigger track is something that really kicks. So if I see sort of the club or the dance floor or whatever, the rave, if I see it just going a little bit tired, I'll search trigger track, and I'll pull a big one, pull the big guns out basically. So it's also a bit of dark disco. Components, it's got a bit of a synth to it. Yeah. Situation, definitely not warm up. I'm going to add my own here. What should we put? Let's have it. As if to say, this is it, we're going now, we're having it, we're going for it. So I can do that with all my tracks here. So for example, I've done 2 more trigger tracks here. And what that means is on the equipment, I can search that tag, and everything within that playlist, or your collection should I say, will be pulled up with the same as. So for example, I could say I want it in the key, I want it in a certain BPM, and I want a rolling bass on it. So I can really filter down the perfect track to come in or out of this track here. So that's one thing we can do. The next thing we can do is also add the settings. This is something that not a lot of people know about. So the settings means these are the settings you add to your USB stick. So for example, the waveform color, I have it on 3-band. So this is the new 3-band waveform, by the way, within Rekordbox 6. For those of you who don't understand it, so the blue is your low end, your orange / yellowy sort of thing, that's your mids, and your white is your high. So for example, when we get to this part, you'll notice the synths come in, and you'll see quite a lot of white on the 3-band waveform. Whereas at the beginning, we have a lot of the low and the mid. Makes sense. So, if I just go back to my settings, yeah, I have the 3-band on, because I prefer that. I have my categories, my sort categories, and then it's the My settings as well. So the player, DJ settings, I'm sure you've all seen this before. If you hold down menu, this is a utility menu on any of our players. So for example, I have my quantize beat to 1/4 because I do hot queuing quite fast. Hot queue, I have my Rekordbox settings, which is allowing me to activate these here. There's other things, jog mode vinyl. I've come from the vinyl years a long time ago, so I still like my CDJs to react like a vinyl. Master tempo should actually be turned on, so I'm glad I've just seen that. I have sync off. I don't really use sync at the beginning. It's only when I get a little bit warmed up and I want to make things a bit more interesting. But then I can also do the LCD displays, and then the indicators, and then I can do things for the mixer as well. And what that means is once we've done that, you just have to exit out, you don't have to save anything, and then you get to the point where you can then sync manager. So I would plug in my USB stick and select it here, and then just transfer which playlist I want over, and it's as simple as that. So it would be Italo Disco, transfer that over. All that information I've then done within the whole playlist is now on my USB stick, and as soon as I plug them into the players, these will flash up all ready for you. So that's export mode at its basic, really. There's more to the export mode, but we only have an hour here and there's still a few things to get through. So, and that's why people are using it for our equipment, simply because it makes things a lot more interesting. It's easier to DJ with, and I couldn't do it without it anymore, really. I like to be very organised, and that's why you play so well. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you very briefly is performance mode. So this is when you have your laptop plugged into the players or laptop plugged into a controller. Now, you'll notice you've got your left deck, your right deck, and of course all the stuff that we've done with an export mode is all here. All there ready for you. Now on the top here you can change your view of it. So this is how I would have it if I was playing DVS, or Scratch should I say. You can still do 4 decks, 2 deck horizontal if I was playing controller. Up here is your little sub menu. So for example, I can have my effects menu here. This is more for the controller range. I've got my sampler. I can have my mixer, but I mean I never really do this simply because I never really DJ off a laptop. It depends what I'm doing, and it depends what kind of music I'm playing. If I'm sort of doing my hip hop and R&B sets, I will play off a laptop simply because it's a lot easier to try. You know, if you're doing multi-genre, should I say, it's a lot easier to stick a laptop when you're moving through 6 different genres than it is, you know, taking 12 USB sticks. I have the record panel here if you want to record. We've got the video panel, lyric panel, and then yes, we do have the lighting panel. Sorry, my Rekordbox just decided to slow down a bit there. We have a lighting panel here, and then we do have the Beatport link, so it allows you to play alongside Beatport. I'm going to turn all these off for now though, and I'm just going to concentrate down here. So I can access all my playlists. So for example, these are the playlists. This is the playlist I've just been working on. And then I have related tracks. So this is the My Tag, very similar to My Tag this. So I've created some here. So for example, BPM and key, and I've selected the master. So the master track, it's going to find me the similar or related keys and the same BPM within plus or minus however many I've selected. Now I can select my own here if I wish to. If I click that, BPM, let's say we want the exact same. Don't include the double and half. Same key, for example, and then if I wanted my tag, I can search any or all the items, file and formats. There's loads of things you can filter it down to, and if I click OK, it'll pull up the same genre, same BPM, everything I've selected really. So that's the My Tag within Rekordbox DJ. But the one things I want to show you is these here. These are the streaming services. This is really good. I'm currently not logged in and I'm not sure why, but I'm not going to log in just yet. But basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to stream from Beatport, BeatSource. There's also SoundCloud as well. Yeah, I can have SoundCloud Go. I can have Tidal, BeatSource, Beatport. I don't use SoundCloud Go. In-flight, I don't use as much anymore. I do use Beatport and BeatSource though. Tidal's not something I use anymore because these two here, Beatport allows me to access the electronic dance music, and then BeatSource allows me to do a lot of multi-genre stuff. So that is briefly what Rekordbox DJ is, and of course this is unlockable. This is free when you have I mean, you can play obviously of your laptop and your mouse pad. Of course you don't really want to be doing that though, because it's quite a difficult way to DJ. But any equipment that unlocks the DJ mode, performance mode, is now free, whereas it used to be chargeable. So that's a really cool feature for Rekordbox 6. Now I'm just going to jump back to export mode. I'm going to show you the Cloud Library Sync. So this is where it does get interesting. Now what the Cloud Library Sync is designed to do is it's allowing you to transfer information and music across different libraries and different sources. So for example, if I have my laptop in front of me, but then I also have my phone on the train and I want to do some Rekordbox work on the phone, this can be now achieved via the Cloud Library Sync. And what it's basically doing is, if I go to the My Page feature here and I go to my plan, my current plan is Creative and it's now activated. So when you sign up for Creative, which is the only plan that you can get the Cloud Library Sync on, you've got to then select Activate this computer. So you can activate up to 4 devices. So I've got my desktop computer in my studio, I have my laptop, which is I'm currently working on now, I have my phone, and then I also have an iPad. So I can activate and share my music over those 4 devices via the cloud. So no longer do you have to use USB sticks, plug in, plug out. I can send it to different devices via any of my devices. So if I go to Library Sync, I'm going to sync this to another device. So it's allowing me to sync my music. And how the storage works is it works via Dropbox. So I think you get something like 2 gigabytes for free from Dropbox, which is enough to get you going. I've upgraded to 1 terabyte because the reason why is I don't just sync my libraries, I save my full collection in my Dropbox. So it's an additional security. So for example, if I was to lose my laptop, God forbid I never do that, I've not lost my library, because I can just re-download it straight from Dropbox. Just go to dropbox.com, re-download your whole library. Bang, it's on there. And it saves all the metadata as well. It's not just the songs. So gone are the days where I do have an external hard drive, simply because my Rekordbox 5's on there. But I don't necessarily use it as much anymore because everything's now in my Dropbox account. And how this works is I simply just right click, Cloud Library Sync, upload tracks. Let's find a track that isn't currently uploaded. Cloud Library Sync, upload tracks, Dropbox. And then you'll see there it's gone straight to my Dropbox. That's now saved in my Dropbox, no problem. I can also do this with playlists. So automatically, right click, stop working, auto upload, turn it on. So anything I put into here, unless I've told it otherwise, will automatically go to my Dropbox. Now, question is, how does this work with other devices? So let me just where's the Air server? Let me just open the Air server up and plug my phone in. Where are you? There you are. So I'm just gonna put my phone onto the laptop. This takes it's a bit hit and miss. It either takes a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds, and I can never judge how long it will take. This time it was a couple of seconds. That's just what we like to see. So, oh, by the way, if I do get any messages come through, please just ignore them. It's a busy morning on my phone this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Rekordbox here. So this is my phone and this is my laptop. So this is technically 2 devices. You're just seeing them both on the screen. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to my preferences, and the first thing you do is sign in. This is just your Rekordbox account. You've got to sign in, and then I'm going to activate it, and I'm going to Cloud Library Sync. So what that means is I can now share devices from here to here. So I'm now sharing between 2 devices. Of course, make sure you're logged into your Dropbox as well, obviously. Now, a few things I want to show you on the app. So I can import songs from the app itself. So this is importing them from my phone, and that can be shared to my laptop to my phone, and vice versa. I can do my in-app player settings. So this is my settings when I plug the phone into the CDJ. So you can use your phone as one of your devices as well. I currently use it as a backup device, and it's pretty simple. You just USB straight into your phone, and once that happens, you can then use your phone as a device, as sort of like a large USB stick, if you will. And within that, I can also change the CDJ settings or the XDJ settings when I'm plugged in. Now that's just a little bit about the settings, but what I want to do is I want to go to my collection and I want to find this track, this Lil Val's Stalkin'. Go to my collection, I'm going to go to my playlist. I'm going to scroll down to Italo Electronic Disco, and then I'm just going to find Lil Val's, which is there. There is a little bit of delay on audio here because I am running my phone audio through my laptop, so it all records fine, so just bear with the audio. Now you'll notice all my hotkeys are all there. So this is wireless. This has been done via the cloud. I'm plugging audio into my laptop. I'm not plugging a phone into my laptop. And this can also be achieved on the core plan, but everything has to be done via a cable, which for me isn't really something that I'd want. I want to share this, all my devices. Sorry, I want to share my collection via all my devices. Now, within the app itself, I can do anything I want to. I could do within Rekordbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete my hotkeys, or some of the ones that I've put in so far. Let's keep A, for example. Now, whilst I'm doing this, please be mindful and please watch out for Rekordbox, because things are going to start changing automatically, because it's constantly syncing within 10 to 15 seconds. Depends on obviously your router speed and things, but it will start syncing ever quite quickly. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to press play and I'm going to create some hotkeys myself, some new ones. There's my first one. Oh, and if you just look at the screen now, you'll notice it's just updated about 10 seconds after I said it. So this is now just updating via the cloud. Let's pull some. I'm just going to put some random ones in there. These aren't going to be as good as the last ones. Let's put one there. Let's put one. Let's put a looped one here. So I'm going to auto loop. And if I go to my list, I can also change the colour if I wish to. Yeah, and I think that'll do for now. I've done enough hotkeys there, and what you'll see, you'll start noticing this is going to start changing again. So it's just pulled up the new hotkeys. It hasn't changed the colour yet, and it's just missing one. But again, every time I open my laptop and I'm plugged into a Wi-Fi, this is going to... Oh, okay, there you go. It's just literally just done it there. This is automatically going to keep reloading the new information. So let's just go back to the app. I can jump bars here at this part here. I can do my auto loop feature here. I can also do my gridding, so you've got the full gridding system, memory points if you're still using them, and I can see my hotkeys here. Go back to my list, there's my hotkeys. Now I can also see I'm currently running deck B. I can go to deck A, which I've just loaded the same track in, but I can also see deck A and B. So it's very similar to doing two-player mode, which is allowing you to view both tracks. And if I hold this center part here, it's now turned into a mini mixer, so I can drop my EQs, just have a little mix to see if both tracks are going to work before I commit, if you will. Good. So that's a little bit more about the app there. Of course, when I want to download any stuff from the cloud itself, I just select the track and then click this here. I'm not going to do this right now because my phone is very busy at the minute and it's starting to slow down. But if I was to select these tracks here and I just select download from the cloud, or I put it back into Rekordbox, back into the local device, which would be the cloud, or I can stop everything if I wish to. So it's very simple, and that's how you get tracks from the cloud itself. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I'm now going to unplug my phone because it is starting to slow down a little bit. I've got a lot running through this laptop now. But that's the app itself, and this is now available on both platforms, Android and Apple. And there it is. Good. So let me just now unplug that and get rid of the air server. Yeah, and let me jump back here. So within the cloud now, what it's done, as you can see, it's just updated everything. Oh, I've just realised Lil Val's has just very nicely synced to Jam Hot there. That's something I wanted. Let's remix that in. Go to one player. Good. And there we have it. And that's all been done on my phone. Now, if you're sat on a train waiting for your gig, or you're sat at home by the television, you don't want to pull your laptop out, you can just pull your phone out and do some Rekordbox work. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favourite features by far. Okay, and again, you know, this is one of the new features for Rekordbox 6. Now, before we go into edit mode, I just want to show you some other features for Rekordbox 6. So this was highly requested, and it was the support to in-flight. So oh, I don't know why I've just gone to performance mode there. Sorry, let me pull that back. Good. Now, in-flight support basically means it's a music streaming service. Sorry, it's a promo service. I'm not currently logged into in-flight. In-flight allows you to, if you are invited, it's invitation only, and it's a promo listing service. So they will send you their tracks. Now, previous to this, what you used to have to do is go to inflight.com, download the track to your files that they've given you, and then put it into Rekordbox. In-flight will allow you to see everything via Rekordbox. So you're bypassing downloading, and you can download it straight to your collection from in-flight itself. So that was one of the new features. Another new feature is we've now added the light skin, which I found really, really good because, of course, the UK has just had an incredible heat wave last week, and I was doing some work in the garden. Why wouldn't you? And I just couldn't see it. So we've now added the white skin, which allows you to see the see Rekordbox a lot better. Good. So there's two more pretty cool features that I really enjoyed. Of course, we do have the 3-band waveform as well, which is another one of my favorites. I'm just going to move the skin actually back to dark mode. Yeah. Now, I'm going to continue with this track here because I've been doing a lot of work with it. But what I want to do is I now want to edit it. I want to edit the track to make my own sort of swing on things. Now, previous to this is the new edit mode. Previous to this, if I wanted to add my own swing to a certain track, I would have to put it within a DAW. So, for example, Ableton or Logic or anything like that. This is, I did say at the beginning I was going to tell you my favourite feature, and this is by far my favourite feature. By far. Basically what this allows me to do is it just allows me to just chop and paste a few things in and out of this track, rebounce it down, which doesn't affect the original, it just creates your own sort of remix on it. So what's going on here? So if I go to my browser, this allows us to put the tracks in there themselves, and you can remix sort of any track that's in your collection. I'm going to work on this track now. Here is a zoom in and zoom out feature. If I select this bar, it's going to show me where my playhead is. Down here, there's a way of selecting your beats. So I can go to 8, 16, etc. Or you can just drag and drop your mouse, which I find that a little bit better to do, quite easier to do actually. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to an interesting part of this track. Let's reset my playhead. Okay, so this part, I want to stall this bit here a little bit. Because the energy of this track is amazing, so I normally would loop this. And I'd keep hold of it and add a load of effects to it before the little drop here. Now, to make this a lot easier, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to copy that select here, I'm just going to paste it. So you'll notice that's just moved over now. And now I can undo that if I wish, which I've done there. But what I want to do, I can clone it, which will send all the track to the right. So what I've done is I've just added 4 beats. But to make this a bit more interesting, I'm going to clone these 2. Now we're working here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it here. So it's just replaced. So I think you know where we're going here. And then we'll go again here with this. Copy that. Nope, sorry, yeah. Clone that. Nope. Paste that, should I say? Yeah. So we've just made it a bit more interesting. Now we can take this even further if we zoom in. And what I want to do is copy that. Oh, sorry, undo that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it again here. So it's just like, it's very basic, just copy and pasting basically, but it's just making it a bit more interesting and putting your own swing on a track. So that's pretty cool, I quite like that. So if we find another part of the track, what have we got here? I'm going to take this whole part here, I'm going to copy it and I'm going to start it with this, quite like that. So I'm going to replace that there. Of course, we need to get rid of some stuff here, so I'm going to delete that completely. And that. That doesn't really work for me, but I think you kind of get the idea. Let's copy and clone that. So we've got 2 of them there. And we can even take it as far as completely get rid of this whole part here. So we've completely changed this track. Let's get rid of that. I think, and that. Okay, that doesn't work, so let's undo that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this here. Oh, let's zoom in a bit. Copy that. I'm going to paste that there. Starting to work now. So I'm not going to take this any further. I think you guys get the idea, but we've completely changed the track now. And if we go to, where was the breakdown there? Good, just made it more interesting. Now, how do we do this? So, render audio files. I'm going to call it just pretty simple stuff. And this is the best part about it. I can change the file format if I wish to, change the sample rate and change the location. I'm going to render that down. Sorry, laptop decided to go a little bit slower there. And I'm going to go to export mode. And there it is. And then it's just used as an ordinary track now. And then we got our breakdown that which we created here. And there we have it. And then you can see it right next to the original here. So the original looks completely different to what we've done. But we've quickly made a quick edit of you know, of a track, and for me this is just by far the best part about it. There's a lot more you can do with the edit, but that's basically what we're trying to achieve. Another good thing about the edit as well, if you find a certain part, you can move that over to your palette and you can recall that at any point you want. And probably, you know, just drag and drop that into certain places if you wish to. Good. So, guys, that is pretty much it. Now, look, there's a whole lot more you can do with Rekordbox. You know, with the lighting mode, the export mode, the performance mode, the edit mode. I've just shown you some of the new features of Rekordbox 6, and I've given you some good tips and tricks to be working on for the future. If you'd like to know any more, by all means visit YouTube. There is hundreds of videos on there which, you know, explain things like advanced beat gridding, which I would have loved to have gone into, but it takes quite some time. That there's stuff about cue and looping, there's things about edit mode, there's so much information you can find online. For those of you who want to, one more time, go and take a look at some of the pricing, it's just rekordbox.com. And if you're after equipment, go to pioneerdj.com. One more thing before we do finalize this video is, when I said about compatible DJ units for performance mode, this is where you find it. So we've got, if this is before you buy, we've got a huge graph here showing you what's compatible with what unlocks what. So please read this before buying any equipment, because you may find yourself thinking, well, for a little bit extra I may be able to unlock DVS mode if I was to buy, you know, XYZ. So check out the compatible DJ units, and if you're having any problems at all, there's also an inquiries page here, and this will take you straight through to our inquiries page, which then goes through to our guys on the end of the line that are ready to help you in any of your problems. Good. So guys, once again, thank you so much for having me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time with Semcom, and yeah, hopefully be able to do this in the flesh next time. So guys, thank you so much. Have a great time.